Arsenal's final pre-season game, Arsenal 3, Atletico 0. Darryl, what are you saying?
Yeah, very happy. Good performance, much needed win heading off into the new season. Obviously, the last two pre-season games that we had ended in defeat. So like you said, it was important for us to get that win in our last pre-season game going into the new season, considering the sort of first 6 fixtures that we got, very difficult. So to head off into a win to start off the season, very important, and I'm glad we got that. Positive performances all round.
Who stood out for you today from an Arsenal perspective?
Oh, Zuba Mendy. Zuba Mendy was brilliant. Man of the match for sure. Saka was sharp today. The whole team, you could see that the intensity, we played with more intensity this time round compared to Villarreal anyway. So, yeah, I reckon Arteta must have said something after that Villarreal game, get them going a little bit. Obviously, we had a full house at the Emirates today. Sun was out. You know, we had to, I'd say, leave off with a win. Even though, it is still pre-season, we still had to, get that win in the bag ahead of Man United game next week.
So you mentioned Zuba Mendy, and I do agree with you. I thought he was man of the match. But what particularly impressed you about Zuba Mendy today? Tell the people why he was so good.
Oh, the pass distribution. He was picking great passes out. The way how he won the ball, like I saw, he was getting a loose ball quite a few times. He was just everywhere. You'd see him play right back at some time, getting the ball. He was brilliant. Just distribution, controlling the tempo of the game, his passing range, so much. He done really well. And if he can play like that next season, I think we got a great chance. We wanted to see that midfield of him, Rice and Odegaard as a free. And we haven't really seen it this pre-season. But when we got to see it today, it really clicked. And, we can hope that going into the season, we can take that forward.
Most definitely. And tell us about Victor Gyökeres, because this was a big game for him. I mean, it's his second start for Arsenal. The first game, a lot of people were, had a lot to say. He didn't score. He had a chance early in the game he could have done better with, but that goal, man, that was sensational.
Yeah, they say he don't score a lot of headed goals. And he scored one today. He nearly scored 2, actually. He nearly scored 2 headed goals. But I'm so glad that he got off the mark. And like I said, I know it's pre-season, but you could see the trolls were out there. They were waiting to do the 0-0-3 and all that. And I'm glad he got his goal, because going into that Man United game now, he can feel that, he's got the monkey off his back a little bit. Definitely. He's got the goal. He looked good today, played 60, 70 minutes, I'd say. And yeah, he was sharp. So he's only going to get better as time goes on. We're still learning how to play with him. But yeah, I think that Gyökeres done really well today, got the goal, and great for his confidence. And you know what as well? It was good to see Havertz come on and score, because like we were saying on the watch along, it's good to have that competition there. Gyökeres will be the main striker, but it can only elevate Havertz as well. And we saw him get the goal today. It was a very good goal as well, probably best goal of the match. So yeah, I think for us, listen, I don't think we're all there yet in terms of, personnel. I still think we need to bring in Eze, but, I don't think he'll be there before the Man United game. Hopefully I'm wrong. But yeah, I think a lot of positives from today going into that game. Yeah.
Tell me something. So you mentioned there, I was going to ask you about that, but you segued into it nicely. So Gyökeres, thought he had a really good game, scored that goal, like you said, got the monkey off his back, played really well, energy was good, all over the place. He comes off, Havertz comes on, like you said, Darryl, arguably scores the best game in the match. Now, does that give the manager a decision to make? Because let's be honest, there is a decision to be made now. It's not a straightforward one. Who would you start with next week and why?
It's got to be Gyökeres, man. I mean, he's our flagship signing. He was the one that we were all screaming out for. You've got to start him. He got the goal today. We're learning how to play with him. Why would you now put him on the bench in our first Premier League game? Let's start him. He has to start. I think there'll be a lot of eyebrows raised if he wasn't starting. Listen, Havertz, he can come off the bench and be an impact, as we saw today. So, yeah, it's got to be Gyökeres. I mean, there's no question. And I think if you ask the majority of the fan base, they would say Havertz. I mean, they would say Gyökeres. Not
a Freudian slip. No, but I do agree with you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Listen, man, I was really impressed with Gyökeres today. You could see the energy he had all game, and it was noticeable that once he scored, like you said, the monkey was off his back, and you could see he played with a certain energy that I liked. His confidence rose, and yeah, man, definitely I would start him for next week. But let's talk about the left side of Arsenal's attack, because going into this game, there was a lot being said about the imbalance of the attack. How would you assess that today? Gabriel Martinelli started. I think he had a better game than some of the previous games on pre-season. But do you think he's done enough to keep his place for next week? Or Madueke came on and I thought Madueke looked sharp when he come on. What are you saying about the left-hand side?
Yeah, I think Martinelli did show a little bit more of an improvement today, but doesn't fill me with the most confidence going into the game at Old Trafford. I reckon he'll still probably start. He
did get an assist, Martinelli.
He did get an assist today, yeah. I mean, we can't overlook that. Trossard, is he going to be fit? Is he even going to be here by the time?
We didn't see Trossard today.
Didn't see him, at all. So probably won't be considered for that left-hand side next week. Listen, man, I think Martinelli is obviously a confidence player. The game against Man United is huge. Obviously, first game of the season. Madueke definitely made a case to start on the left-hand side in that game. And I know there were people on the watch-long in the comments saying that they'd have Madueke.
Me.
Yeah, and there was others as well. So it's one for Arteta. He's a decision maker. He's getting paid for this. I'm not. But I would say that,
You're Arteta for the day. Who do you go with?
I'd go with Madueke. I thought that Madueke made more of an impact when he came on. I'd start him.
Yeah. Me personally, I would start Madueke, but I do think that the manager will probably go with Martinelli.
Yeah.
One thing I would say about Martinelli, and I always say he's there's two things about his game that does stand out. One is the pace. He's got raw pace. He's the most explosive player in the Arsenal team. He's also very good when it comes to defending and tracking back, and we know that the manager likes that. We've got to draw things to a conclusion, but I do want to ask you, you've seen all 5 pre-season games, the 2 wins against Milan and Newcastle, then we had the 2 dips against Tottenham and Villarreal. We've ended up with a win today. To round things up, how do you assess the pre-season and how confident are you going into the game against Man United next week, the all-important season opener?
Yeah, listen, not too high, not too low. It is pre-season at the end of the day. We got the win that we needed heading off into the start of the season, but there's only so much you can read into it. The real test starts next week, Sunday, against United, and that ain't going to be easy. We don't tend to do well at Old Trafford, which has always annoyed me, even when they've been that bad. I feel like we owe them one. You know what I mean? So, I'd love to see us go up there and win, of course, but those first 6 games of the season are going to be difficult. So I think that with overall the pre-season fixtures have been, we've played some good competition in pre-season. It ain't been like, no disrespect, it ain't been like Barnet or anyone been playing. We've played like Bilbao, played Villarreal, we played Spurs, we played Newcastle, so they've all been competitive games. Milan as well. Yeah. So I think that's been good preparation. But ultimately, all that matters now is next week Sunday. And I think
So if you had to grade it from 1 to 10, obviously 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, what would you give Arsenal's pre-season?
I mean, we won today. We beat Milan, beat Newcastle, lost to Spurs and Villarreal.
3 wins, 2 losses.
I'd say a 6.
A 6?
I'd say a 6.
And just finally, how do you think we match up against Man United next week?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. The crowd there is going to be lively. They've had a lot to scream about over the last few weeks. I mean, they've made some good signings, of course. It'll be a good game. Always is Man United and Arsenal. And to have that as the first game of the season, it's going to be a big game.
Okay, Darryl, thank you very much. Well said. Cheers.